to your incense offering found in your books, and we will begin that shortly. Please stand. And together we say, in gratitude we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding, slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. Let's take a moment to just say hello and greet one another. All right, everyone. Let's finish up our hellos and return to our seats. Please stand. Turn your handbooks to page 7 to join us in reciting the 3 refuges. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the three jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts.
And if you'll just flip your books over, on the other side, we have the Heart Sutra. We repeat the name of the sutra at the beginning and at the end.
Dharma Prajna Paramita Pradaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, from the deep practice of Prajna Paramita, perceived the emptiness of all five skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but Prajna Paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in Prajna Paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna paramita is the great dharani, the radiant peerless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna paramita. Gate, gate, hara gate, hara samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, hara gate, hara samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, hara gate, hara samgate, bodhisvaha. Dhamma prajna paramita hridaya sutra.
Please take your seats. It's one of my favorite ways about beginning temple is that we have this opportunity to chant together. And as we're chanting, we're taking these deep breaths in between and preparing for the next verse. And it really wakes us up and brings us to the present moment. This morning, I am going to be talking about the discourse on the full awareness of breathing, or the Anapanasati Suta. And this sutta, I've been studying pretty intensely for the last 2 weeks. And what has been enlightening about it, just like many of the Buddhist teachings, is that we breathe at every moment of our day. There's never a time when we're not breathing. And if that's the case, then maybe you've crawled off this mortal coil. So in this particular sutta, the Buddha talks about how to use the breath to come back to the present moment. And there's many ways to do that. Now, first, I want to kind of talk about moments throughout your day where you can come back to the breath. Does anybody in here use the like Insight mindfulness timer or a mindful bell? Yeah, you can raise that hand. Or does anybody else use any other kinds of methods throughout their day to come back to their breath? Anyone?
Whenever I have trouble motions come up,
Mm-hmm.
or to get in there and try to separate the motion, I'm like, feel it, please, and just breathe,
Yes.
and then just let it go.
And that's what the Buddha talks about in this particular sutta as well. And I'll touch more on that in a minute, but that's fabulous. That's a great way to come back. For me, when I'm sometimes when I'm at the grocery store or just kind of going throughout my day, whatever it is, and maybe I hear someone take a deep breath like that, it's like Pavlov's dogs, you know, that bell that's kind of like, oh, I have to breathe. Okay. Sometimes when my husband's at home and it's the end of the day and it's before dinner time, it's like, oh, yes, breathing. We do those things, don't we? So the first aspect of meditation that we are taught about is called shamantha. And that is the practice of calming our body and emotions through the practice of mindful breathing. And the Buddha goes on to talk about four areas we can focus on to come back to this moment of breathing. And the first one he talks about is the body. Do you ever get lost in a good book and you forget who you are, where you are, what time it is, all of those things because you are so absorbed in the story that is being told? Well, that is losing our body. We are losing track of who we are, where we are, what we are, because we are so engrossed by this story. Another good example is maybe you're scrolling through social media, getting sucked into, seeing the really cute babies that are just born, or the cute dog videos, or maybe it's the troubling stories that are happening all over the world in the news. And it's taking that opportunity to come back to the body and remembering that we still have one, and that it's doing the work all day for us. It's breathing. It's making sure that we continue to live, right? And so when we come back to that breath, it gives our body and mind the opportunity to reconnect. So it's important to take those times throughout your day to come back to that body. Another thing that happens for me in the body that is kind of like my mindfulness bell is sometimes when I'm driving and I can feel my shoulders tense up, or I can feel my legs tense up. And I think, oh, I need to relax. So I take that opportunity to take that deep breath out, and come back to bringing my mind and my body together. And in the Suta, there is a guide through how to come back through your breathing. And it says, breathing in, I am aware of my whole body. Breathing out, I am aware of my whole body. Breathing in, I calm my whole body. Breathing out, I calm my whole body. And then it goes on to talk about how we can also use our feelings to come back to the present moment. Sometimes we have knee-jerk reactions to things that go on throughout our day. Maybe somebody cuts you off in traffic, or maybe it's your dog barking at the door because he heard the mailman. We have these knee-jerk initial reactions to react in some way. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's frustration, maybe it's sadness, or maybe it's happiness. Maybe when you see someone, you're just so excited that you haven't seen in a while, and it's, oh, hey, how are you? And you get lost again. You get pulled away from your body and mind connection. We are taught about the eye consciousness and the ear consciousness and the nose consciousness. And our eyes and our ears are something, all of our senses are something we're constantly being distracted by. But the eyes and the ears nowadays, with the way that the media is constantly around us, we are being pulled away from our bodies, being pulled away and pulled away, being pulled away by our feelings. So using that breath to come back to bringing the mind and the body back together is an important part of this particular practice. And also noticing when you have neutral feelings. So we have painful feelings. We've got positive, pleasant feelings. We've got neutral ones. Have you ever, for those of you who have children, or maybe even a dog, have you ever been sitting on the beach or somewhere really pleasant, maybe at the park, and you're just taken in the moment, and you're there, and you're really embracing just being in the sunshine? If it's sunny, but maybe you like the rain. But in this instance, embracing the sunshine, listening to the birds singing, smelling the flowers of the fresh cut grass. And maybe your kid comes up to you, or your dog is poking you with its nose saying, I'm bored, and takes you, trying to pull you from that moment. And using what we know in our practice in Buddhism, we can help transform those neutral feelings in others to positive ones. We can say, well, let's, if you're at the beach, you can say, let's go for a swim in the water and let's go enjoy the water, or let's build a sandcastle together, right? Or if it's your dog, go on a mindful walk with them. So there's ways that we can use our feelings or the feelings of others to come back to the present moment and bring others with us. The third aspect is the mind. So noticing when the mind is keeping us from things. Sometimes you have a really concentrated mind, right? And you're concentrated on checking all the things off on your list that you need to do today, but you forgot to remember to breathe, right? You're so engrossed in this list that you've got to get done, you've got to get done, you've got to get done, because if you don't get it done, you won't be able to enjoy your peace. Well, isn't the point to come back and enjoy those things while you're doing them, right? To enjoy the peace while it's happening, enjoy the journey, so to speak. Another is to notice when attachment and aversion is present in the mind. For me, I have an aversion to doing the dishes, and I'm sure some of you may feel the same way, which is why I'm so appreciative of Thich Nhat Hanh's gathas to come back to the present moment while we're scrubbing a dish. But to tie that in with the breath, there is a senior monk at Plum Village, Chanduk, who reminds us to, like when we're scrubbing the dishes, how many circles go around as you take an in-breath, how many circles go around as you take an out-breath, using that to come back, right? Or as you put a dish from the dish into the dishwasher or the drying rack, how many breaths does it take? It doesn't have to be like, 5 breaths just to get the dish into the dish rack, but just be mindful of your breath. It's not saying that you have to attach to it and hold on to it and grasp to it, but just use it as a tool to remember that you're still here, that this is a present moment for you to take advantage of and to be in, right? You don't need to be, as I usually am, pulled away by, oh, I've got another dish to do. Oh, this was the eggs that my daughter ate the other morning and it's all stuck to the dish and I've got to let it soak. And then I've got to do, I'm constantly just letting my mind go. So that practice of coming back and just, it's a dish. I got to clean it. If I don't clean it, I won't have something to eat off of, right? So when we are using our breathing in that way, we're talking about the part in the sutta where he's saying, breathing in, I am aware of my mental formations. Breathing out, I am aware of my mental formations. Breathing in, I calm my mental formations. Breathing out, I calm my mental formations. Breathing in, I am aware of my mind. Breathing out, I am aware of my mind. And the last aspect that he goes on to talk about is the objects of the mind. And it's noticing when thoughts arise and to be mindful of them and not to get hooked by it, right? Like when you're walking by a doorknob and your corner of your sweater happens to get caught and all of a sudden it feels like you're being yanked backwards. There is a mind object for me that comes up more frequently. I'm 5 months pregnant, and being pregnant, we've got lots of cravings. And if you've ever had the opportunity to have the lemon cake from Pietro's, it's an Italian lemon cake that is just fabulous. I work about 2 minutes down the road from Pietro's. So when I'm getting off work, those 30 minutes before I get off, I'm thinking, should I put an order in for that lemon cake? I know my husband would appreciate it if I brought him home a slice. And that is an object of form, right? Something that my mind is going back to and desiring and craving and wanting. Not really sure if it's me or the baby, but I'll go with me. So it's being able to recognize when that comes up and then thinking to myself, do I really need the lemon cake? No. Do I want it? Yes. And having kind of a little bit of an ego tantrum, but again, using that breath to come back and think about what is the process? How can I let go of any kind of attachment that I'm hooking to? When I think of objects of minds like that, I think of Veruca Salt talking to her dad saying, Daddy, Daddy, I want an Oompa Loompa. And I think in my mind, Igye Su, I want a piece of lemon cake. And how to come back to that breath, to be mindful of those things that I am being caught by. Maybe you're looking forward to something like a vacation. And do you ever notice yourself, oh, I just can't wait. I just can't wait. And really think about what those words mean. What can't you wait for? You'll get there eventually, right? So if we can use our breath to come back to the present moment, that's going to be there. Your vacation isn't going anywhere, hopefully, unless you're like me and you've had to, I'm heading to Ireland and I all of a sudden had to switch my flight last minute because I got an alert saying, "Oh, there's bad weather in Chicago. You might not be able to go where you're trying to get to today." And I'm like, "All right." So I got to go into quick fix mode of how can I get myself there because I've got to go. This is a business trip. Can't be late. But again, using that breath to come back and not getting so wrapped up in it that it affects your day. It keeps you from the present moment. The present moment is where we are right now. If we weren't here, we wouldn't be breathing. So that breath is such an important tool that the Buddha brings to our attention, brings to our awareness of how we can keep coming back to release cravings, attachments, all the different hindrances, whether it's maybe sloth and torpor, like not wanting to do the dishes. How can we abandon those kinds of things that keep us from this present moment? And, you can use it as a way to break a habit. I am a previous smoker, and that was, how can I come back and notice my cravings? How can I come back and remember that those are not things that I need? I do need to breathe, however. Breathing is an important aspect. How to be mindful of eating, how to be mindful of walking. Nowadays, there are programs coming out for children's in school where they are teaching mindfulness techniques, to be aware of emotions, to be aware of how they're feeling, and even to be aware of their breath. I recently got a pamphlet from the Kentwood schools talking about this program they have called Family Circles. And in the article, it says, a teacher leads students in stretching, breathing, and slow movements to focus and relax the children's minds and bodies. In Buddhism, we would think of that as coming back to the present moment, being aware of our breath. And then the article went on to remind readers to take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale, and relax. And I find that that is an important thing that we should come back to often. And it's not difficult, right? We're not asking you to memorize a sutra or a chant or anything like that. Just use what you have. Something that many of you might be familiar with is maybe when you're sitting on our zafu cushions, and as I get bigger in my pregnancy, I notice this. Maybe your back is hurting, or maybe your foot's starting to fall asleep. And the Buddha taught the middle way. So in Buddhism, we are reminded that don't attach to having to sit in that position. If you need to shift around, shift around. If you need to bring your foot back to being awake or not so it's tingling and causing pain, come back and sort it out, fix it out, give it a stretch. Yeah. So, the Buddha tried the two extremes. He studied with the ascetics and starved himself to the point where he was on the brink of death. This is not what our practice is about. Our practice is coming back to that middle way. And the breath is a great tool to do that with. So if you do right now, notice a body part falling asleep, or maybe some tension in your back or your shoulders, take a second, shift around, and just send some love to that part of your body, and then come back, because that's how we can continue our practice successfully. Yes, life is full of struggling, but it's also full of joy and peace and love, and noticing and remembering that those are two parts of the same coin. Our reality is filled with all kinds of things that can pull us away from the present moment. And it is being able to use our breath to come back to the here and the now. And when we breathe, we can overcome our suffering and experience the bright side of life. There is anybody in here familiar with the Monty Python's film, Life of Brian? So at the end of the film, and if you're not, go watch it. It's a great film. At the end of the film, there is a song that they sing called Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. And I'm going to sing you one of the verses because I think it is so apparent to remind us that the present moment is a joyful, beautiful place to be. If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. When you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle, that's the thing. And always look on the bright side of life. Oh, I heard the whistling. Yes. I was hoping somebody would do that. Always look on the right side of life. So if you want a good laugh today, the song is available on Spotify. So as you're leaving temple today, put that on. It brings a big smile to my face. And there are some other verses that if you look at it through a Buddhist lens, it'll bring a smile to your face. It's just really lovely. And in there, just purse your lips and whistle. What does it take to whistle? Breath. We got to breathe, don't we? Whistling is like breathing in song. You know, in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, they have whistle while you work. So I chose some good tunes today. So when we go through this process of being aware of our breath, it brings us back to those moments of mindfulness. And that, as the sutta goes on to talk about, brings us to the 7 factors of awakening. And I won't spend too much time on those because as we get into our studies, you have a better understanding of all these different teachings that go on in Buddhism. But if you think about how the breath is bringing us back to this present moment, it is reminding us to be mindful of our movements in our body, mindful of our feelings, mindful of what is happening in our mind. Are we distracted? Are we concentrated? Mindful of the thoughts that are going through your mind. Mindful of the cravings or the attachments or the aversions. So when we start to notice those things come up, we then investigate them. We investigate, okay, I'm thinking about the lemon cake, right? I'm mindful of my craving for the lemon cake, investigating a little further as to why that is coming up in my mind as a distraction. And understanding that from continually looking at that and investigating it from a mindfulness point of view. And as we come to the point where we're accepting of not getting the lemon cake or accepting of knowing I don't need this. I can breathe. I'm not necessarily hungry. Do I want it? Yes, that's okay. That provides energy to look at other things that way and continues to give that energy to look at the rest of the things throughout my day in that way. And that brings me joy because I know that I can keep coming back to various times in my day, throughout my day, to calm myself and come back to that present moment, to not get hooked by the guy who just cut me off or the folks that don't know how to use a roundabout correctly. And as you can see, I think about these things often. And that gives us this ease to continue. The more we can, I like to think of it like combing out the knots in your hair, right? You keep working at it. You keep working at it. You keep working at it. There's always going to be knots in your hair. If you have long hair like me, or at one point in your life did, there's always going to be knots in your hair. And it is just a continual practice of removing those knots and observing them, not getting angry at them, not getting upset with them, not getting frustrated with them, not getting attached in any way, just letting them be what they are. And that enters into an ease of concentration. We are able to focus and come back to the breath more easily. We notice that things come up. We notice that they're there. We embrace them and we let go of them. And that is the last part, is being able to release those things, those attachments, those things we get hooked on, and come back to the present moment. Strengthening this connection between your mind and your body through the use of the breath. That's something we can always come back to. Breath, simple as breathing and noticing that we're breathing. Use that as your mindfulness bell if you forgot your home or your phone at home. Okay. Use that as a means of when something may have just brought up a lot of anxiety in you, to come back to that breath and observe that anxiety. Today, as you go throughout your day, and hopefully as you continue through life, which when we leave here, we never know what's going to happen. But as you continue throughout today and through even the next week, when you come back and hopefully join us for the next Dharma talk, be aware of your breath. Keep coming back to it. Keep using that as a means of being aware of your body, your feelings, your mind, and all of those objects that come up in our mind. The beginning of awareness is everywhere. We just have to be mindful to look for it. So with that, I am going to lead us in a meditation that is from Thich Nhat Hanh, and it is based on this sutta, and it is the first 4 parts of the 16 breathing exercises. All right. So get comfortable. Send some love to those body parts that might have a little bit of pain showing up, or the foot that's falling asleep. And remember to breathe. Breathing in, I am aware of my in-breath. Breathing out, I am aware of my out-breath. Breathing in, I follow my in-breath all the way through. Breathing out, I follow my out-breath all the way through. Breathing in, I am aware of my whole body. Breathing out, I am aware of my whole body. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I calm my body. So the last thing I want to leave you with is a technique I often use when I can't fall asleep at night. It's a body scan technique. For those of you who are familiar with it, you start at the top of your head and you go through every body part you can think of, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. It's also a great tool if you find yourself in an anxious moment that you can't get out of, or a moment that is taking you away from the present moment. So I think I'd just leave you with that. You may notice at the beginning of the Dharma talks, or the beginning of temple, we ring the bell 27 times. That's another great way to keep coming back to the breath. Thank you all so much. Do we have any announcements this morning? Oh.
Good morning. My name's Ellen. I'm here to talk about donations to the temple. First of all, no one receives a cent. Everything that happens here at the temple happens because a volunteer made it happen. That includes our clergy, our board, everybody. So we need donations. If you're here physically in the temple, you can always, whenever you feel it's right for you, can leave a donation. We have a Dana box right on the other side of these curtains We have another Dana box right back here. It's the black one on the little table. You can also go to the website zengr.org/donate. Scroll down to the donate button and hit that. You can make a one-time donation. You can set it up to do a payroll kind of monthly deal too. That's very nice. Also, if you're watching from YouTube, I just found out this morning because the tech guys helped me. I knew you were supposed to be able to find a donate somewhere, but I couldn't. So on the lower right-hand side of the screen, there's a little arrow. Hit that, and the drop-down menu will take you to the donate. So you can do that. Also, if you use Amazon, you can go to Amazon Smile. You can designate a nonprofit, which of course we all hope everyone designates Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple. And a portion of everything you buy at no extra cost to you will come to the temple, and it adds up. It's amazing. The last thing, I think I've remembered everything. We have a Buddha boutique downstairs, and there's a lot of really nice items in there, also donated. So those are for sale, and we'd love for you to go down and take a look at everything. Thank you.
Do you have monthly? Is there normally a list? Oh, it's all good.
You can do it,
Oh, okay.
but I didn't give you this morning.
That's all right. I knew there was something like that. That's all right. All right. So there are some May events, and these can be found at our website at zengr.org. First Wednesday of each month, we have the Radical Dharma Book Club. Every Thursday, there is the Dharma Sutra discussion group. We already had our Jukai ceremony and Lojong celebration. And then the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple Board of Directors meetings are the fourth Sunday of each month, which is today. And there's also Buddhist Space recovery meetings on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Which day was the Alamo Club? Wednesday is the Alamo Club. And as always, as I said in the beginning, all this can be found at zengr.org. Any other announcements? No. All right. So let's go ahead and turn our books to page 9 and finish with our closing gathas. I got it. And together we say, for all unskillful actions ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for it all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passions, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. Before we leave today, this side of the room, we're going to turn to this side. And let's go ahead and bow. Thank you, everyone.
The heads up, the back row cushions are going to be put away, and then those two stragglers on the end here, there's only 16 ounces. Thank you, everyone.